Hey everyone, welcome to the Higher Points podcast. I'm Nick Sauer, sitting here in the studio with my buddy Nate Hyatt. We're coming at you with just a small to the point. Our schedules lately have not really been lining up well. I mean, it's just that time of year, you know. Everybody's got like Christmas parties. Nate's also got a contest, strongman contest coming up. And my son Eli is going to be training for a powerlifting one with Scott on Sunday when we normally record. So we're kind of here a little early. And also, I'm not feeling well, so if I start coughing through the middle of this, I am not editing out all kinds of coughs, so sorry. You're just going to have to deal with it.
He's lying. He just turned the bass down on his voice.
I actually can do that. But it's one of those things where like it sucks because not only do I not feel good, but I've still been going to the gym. So like I did legs, and so like my legs are sore, my back is sore, like my middle back is sore from I did like a bunch of back hypers and stuff because it's like an area that I kind of been neglecting for a while. So it's like, okay, I need to, kind of hit that. And I just feel like hammered shit right now. Like, not even gonna lie.
I feel like there's just lots of sicknesses going around this time of year, and everybody's traveling, so that just makes it worse. And
yeah, so this will likely not be a long podcast, and there's probably people like, yay, Nick's not going to talk so much, so we'll get it knocked out. Nate and I kind of talked about a little bit of what we were going to do today. So Nate has had an interesting perspective this week, managing what are you guys calling that project? Like, what's the name that you guys refer to it as?
The Corwin Project is what we call it.
Okay,
but it is, I think, stoplight apartments or stoplight lofts is what it's going to be called.
Okay,
in the end,
that's a ode to a small town right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the interesting perspective of during the Corwin project that this week has been kind of interesting. So you kind of
last couple weeks have kind of been.
Oh, okay. So you want to kind of talk about it?
Been crazy. It was so up to this point. It's basically just been Lux that has been in the building. We had plumbers come before we did the slab and all that stuff. We've had the flooring guy came in and sanded all the hardwood floors upstairs, like the first sand. What else? I think that's basically it on other subs we've had in there. But these last 2 weeks, we finished framing, and now HVAC, electrical, plumbing are all there. 3 separate companies.
At the same time.
Plus, we are there, and we're doing things to help make their jobs easier, like pulling up spots in flooring that they need pulled up, reframing some things to help with HVAC, and then just helping manage the challenges as it come from a project of this magnitude. And it has taken every ounce of Brandon and I's brain power to put things together. It's like Brandon, his brain works really well on the finished product. My brain works really well getting us to that. Like basically pre-drywall, like I am good managing that part of it. Post-drywall, Brandon's better at managing, especially when it comes to the finishes and the design and that kind of stuff.
So you're talking everything from like paint to fixtures to like even furniture if you were going to furnish it.
Yeah.
And like all the little kind of like knick-knacky things,
Yeah, picking out plumbing fixtures, picking out vanities, cabinets. I mean, just
so what you're saying is
light fixtures.
Brandon is a fan of Hobby Lobby.
None of that's Hobby Lobby stuff.
I'm just joking about like just all those little knick-knacky things. That, like your wife would buy and put on a shelf and you don't even notice it. But like people come over, they're like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, when did that get there?
It's just been a tough juggling act, I'm not even going to try to explain some of the problems because they're just probably go over a lot of people's heads that aren't contractors, but some stuff like trying to figure out, like the plans are drawn and they show plumbing, but like the architect didn't take into account part of this building we're trying to eliminate going into the liquor store as much as we can, not tearing down that ceiling, trying not to have pipes sticking out. So we are trying to stay out of there. One of those challenges, we're having to cut flooring up above in order to run through floor joists. But there's also part of that building that is outside, so we can't really run through the floor joists on the outside with water lines.
Right, yeah.
So otherwise things will freeze. And so it's just progressed, and it's like, okay, these are things that we didn't think about. Like, next time moving forward, we need to make sure that these are thought about.
So tuition payments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say tuition payments for us. Kind of.
Well,
It's not like it's costing us.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like as far as like you're like learning from this. This is something that you're learning from. I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, if you think about it, it is costing Lux money, because if you're having your guys have to do extra work or extra thinking or extra time on site, it's costing you just a touch extra money.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
but it's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything, or tens of thousands or anything.
but like we're keeping track of our hours that we're spending there, because everything we're doing now is outside of the scope of work we original bid, and so we keep track of hours and we just bill those hours out basically.
Gotcha.
But like, it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool project. It's coming along fast now.
So what's it been like, I guess, managing all those people? Like, how many people do you have like on site at any given time? Like when you're having everybody together.
I mean, typically like yesterday we had a meeting in Double Shot, and it was the head electrician, the head plumber, plumber's helper. Actually, there was 3 plumbers in there: electrician, me, Brandon. Plus, I mean, they still had workers upstairs and HVAC. I mean, there's probably, I'd say 10 to 15 people there.
Who do you have doing all the work? Like, what are the names of the companies?
So Decker Madison is doing the HVAC. Scooter's Plumbing is doing plumbing. And T&B Electric is doing all the electrical. So they've all been really good to work with. It's really nice, like, having, like, they have leads that are really good at communicating, and we're good at communicating back and talking through these problems. And it's been a fun challenge, honestly. Like, just trying to balance, like, they're communicating to me, and then I've got to make sure that I let the other 2 trades know that, like, this is a change, Otherwise, it could end up being like, oh, we got to tear this out and redo it.
Oh, yeah.
So just balancing all that, and then trying to keep double shot. We are going to have to get into double shot a little bit. So, like, balancing how we're going to do that and still keep them open for their hours of operation and not, like, disturb their business, break any bottles, because we're going to be drilling through the ceiling, putting plumbing through there. Eventually, we're going to be putting in fire suppression, and that's going to have to go into that building. I mean, there's going to be lots of little changes that happen in there, just trying to minimize that, which is a challenge. Like, it's maybe always working night shift on electrical, so we'll replace the panel at night in double shot instead of doing it during the day where they have to shut down hours. Where it's like one of those balancing acts. It's like, okay, we either pay double shot for the revenue they're going to lose, or we pay the electricians double time,
6 1, half dozen another.
Yeah, it is. And it's easier to track, in my opinion, probably easier to track the double time on the electricians than it is like, well, that potential revenue would be,
And the investors would probably stomach seeing a bill from, like paying the electricians double time versus something else like that.
Yeah, and there's going to be times
make them at least raise an eyebrow to ask questions. So
yeah, which is going to be weird for me because I'm going to have to manage, like, being there. Like, we'll have to set up that night before so that, like, they're protecting, like, the bottles and everything in double shot. So I'll do that after closing, set that up, and then after they're done at 8, 9 o'clock, go in there and pull it out and get things ready for them, clean. Get it ready for them to roll at double shot. So it's going to be kind of a interesting challenge. It's
going to be way past your bedtime. You sure you know what to do with that?
Way past my bedtime. Yeah.
So what are some, what are some, like, lessons learned that you've learned so far?
Organization is a big deal, writing things down so that I don't forget to tell other trades, or writing things down so I don't forget to communicate to Clint, the liquor store owner, or making sure that I get like the lead plumber there to have certain conversations, and so it's been fun.
Yeah, I think there's only so much brain power that you can devote to, I mean, especially getting into what you're getting into and the things that I've been getting into. I find myself, like, if I'm not putting it in my calendar, or, that's why, I don't know if you saw it, you didn't accept it, but I put like a calendar invite for the podcast today, and I even sent it to you. And like, I have a little like leather bound notebook in my truck that if I'm going in to meet with like a prospective customer or whatever, because I found when I did Colin's storage website and his feed store website, I found that like I took notes in that, and I learned that I didn't take enough notes, because I can't tell you how many times I called Colin and was like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? Hey, what about this? And so like I learned some valuable lessons there, because I felt, I mean, like, Colin's a cool dude, so like he had no problem answering, because most of the time he's on the road anyway, so like it wasn't a big deal. But I felt bad, like, in a way of like, I should have taken care of this. Like, I should have just been able to like given a like rough draft project and been like, hey, what do you think of this? Yeah. And then, oh no, edit this, change that, edit that, versus, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? How do I do this? What is this?
Yeah, it's not all going to be perfect the first time. Yeah.
But anyway, so
I agree with like the mental drain, like it's crazy, because like a year ago I was just a framer. I mean, I was more than just a framer. Had a couple guys underneath me, and I was running a crew and like managing the project. But it's like now, not only is it Corwin, it's Corwin, Donavelli, Riffle, did some stuff for Hewitt's, Splitters, Seth's, like trying to manage and get everything closed, like finish up projects, start new ones. It's just, there's just a lot, and you've got to write it down. Otherwise it's out in one ear and out the other.
Have you ever considered any type of like project management software or CRM software?
We're kind of looking into some of that. We've used Monday a little bit, and it was...
Well, just to let you know, while we're here, and I'm thinking about it, because I'll forget if I don't tell you right now, the same guy that got me into the lead gen and SEO stuff, he bought a CRM software, and it does everything. Like, for instance, Ted was looking for one. And he wanted it to like plan his routes so that he was more fuel efficient. It'll even do that. Yeah. So, and he said it was only like $200 a month that he was going to charge for it. I think something like that. So just throwing that out there while we're here and we're thinking about it.
Yeah, and something like that I think is coming down the pipe.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that because considering how many like projects you have going on, it would just help make sure that like small things didn't fall through the crack. Yep. Have you had any luck on like an administrative assistant or anything like that?
Yes.
That's good.
But I can't talk in depth about it yet.
Yeah, got it. So obviously we've learned to like write things down. What are some things that you did that like went well, that like you had learned a previous lesson and then like you applied it there and like it just worked again, or it worked well, or you kind of saw like maybe we should do it this way because I've seen it in this project, it's similar, and like how did that work? It went well. Putting you on the spot. Jeopardy theme.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff, a lot of this, like, is not completely new. It's like when we frame this building, the floors are wavy, the ceilings are wavy. It's like every stud was a different length. Literally every stud had to be measured in that building, and there's thousands of boards. I think. I remember right, it was like 8 bundles, give or take, of 2x4s who went into there. There's roughly 400 some odd, but like pieces of lumber in a bundle. Some of those are 16, some of those are 12s. That's just on the inside. That doesn't even count the addition on the back. And so that's a lot of stuff to measure. So one thing we did is we got a laser tape. So you just hold it on the bottom plate, hit the laser, hit the top, gives you the measurement. Then you don't have to have 2 people holding the tape measure, yeah, right. 12 foot.
Over and over and over and over and over.
Yep.
Yeah. So who built like the little, like, I guess, addition on the back? Was that you guys, or I thought I saw somebody else there?
We had Brett Liker
come in. Right.
and they did the framing and stuff on it. We had Rolando's concrete. They did some of the concrete work. We did some, and which we use him for a lot of concrete moving forward now.
Good job.
Yeah, he does a great job. He worked for Galleons for a little while, and he worked for Carl Erickson Construction, and I mean he's got 15 years, 20 years of concrete experience, and started his own deal and got an LLC started, and he's really competitive with the rest of the pricing and that, and like it's easy to communicate with him, and it's easy for us to bid based on the numbers he gives us. So it's been good finding that connection. So it's a lot of this project. I don't know, it's just cool to see it all like really starting to come together now, and all the moving parts, and it's been fun managing and communicating with everybody.
So, I guess the same thing has been happening to me, I guess, this last week or two. So I have, I have two different, like, properties, quote unquote, that I'm working on, as well as, like, managing and looking at, like, Collins just to make sure it's going well, because that was, like, my first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a lot of extra work into that one because there were some things that I kind of had to, like, retroactively, I guess, fix or add to or whatever. And so, like, getting together with a guy schedule, to, like, get those done. And then this last one that I did was a mobile diesel repair website, but it was for a customer in Columbia, Illinois that I play video games with.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting him to set up the Google My Business profile was interesting, of, like, walking him through it. Like, he'd done it before, but then he was, like, having these issues with using his, like, company email to try to set it up. And then he used, like, his personal Gmail and, like, instantly verified, and it was weird. But then having the guy that, like, mentors to me, like, he's also a friend of this guy, like, go through and look at that website and then, like, give me feedback, and then telling me, like, hey, you kind of made, like, you cast your net a little bit too wide, so you're kind of going to dilute your lead gen site. And I didn't know that was a thing. If you cast your net too big, that you can dilute it. Well, I mean, you have to keep in mind that it was in the St. Louis area. So casting a net that's 20 miles, you're going to catch
a lot of traffic,
500,000 to 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're trying to catch, like, this area where, like, it's not as saturated, I guess. Which isn't to say that, like, your lead gen site won't appear in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so just kind of, like, adjusting. So I had to go through the entire site page by page by page and adjust, like, all the city names, adjust it on the GMB, and then just finding time to also just kind of chill out, hang out, like, watch a TV show or MASH or something. Has been interesting. Like, that's another thing. Like, last night I was telling Nate on the phone, I was planning on working on a website, and then I was kind of like, like, I'm actually going to go to bed at a decent time because I knew that we had to come in here today and do this.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to going to bed at 4:30, got to bed at 1:30, and then was up all night coughing and then feel like shit. But, like, I'd had these plans to, like, go to the gym and, like, all that other kind of stuff. And, like, right now I'm, like, internally in my brain, like, I feel, like, really anxious and stressed because I've got, like, some billing issues that I need to work through with a customer, and then I've got, like, this HVAC website that I need to kind of polish a little bit more, that I learned from this, like, mobile diesel site.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, I went back and looked, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I kind of missed that here, so I need to go back and fix that, which it's already being indexed by Google, so I'd have to get it re-indexed. So it's just been, I guess, different but the same in a way.
Yeah.
But it's been nice dealing with my buddy that I've known for a long time. Like, he's just a whiz at, like, websites and stuff, and so it's been nice to be able to say, like, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And being able to, like, rely on him. But I have so many other things that, like, I want to do. I got asked to actually go to the college and, like, consult on a some of their active shooter stuff. I guess that'd be more like Sterling PD-ish work than it would be 519 Enterprises. But that's the kind of stuff that I would like to do in retirement years, is like consult on that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. But and then this stuff with the CRM, basically all I have to do is be a salesman for the guy and then make some more passive income on that. So that's been kind of nice to do as well.
And you're about to get into election year.
Yeah, that's been an interesting experience. And that's, I guess, real quick, that's one of the things that has been interesting for me is, I can't control what another person says or does. And so I've had to kind of have that self-reflection of like, hey, focus up. You can only focus on you and what you want to do. And that's where your focus needs to be at, not on other things or trying to fit other people's molds. Just be you. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not, it won't. Like I've said many times.
It's tough to have that mindset sometimes.
It is. But I'm not gonna change myself to fit another mold. I'm just gonna keep being me. And I'm not a perfect man. Never claimed to be a perfect man, but definitely a lot going on. And today is definitely going to be a C4 energy drink day just to get through. So that's been my week.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add there as far as like the Corwin project or any other projects?
Well, it's just like, going back like a year ago, I was the framer, but I was just mentally, like physically at the end of every day, just drained. It's like, I'm not that way anymore. It's just my brain by the end of the day is just gone.
So
nothing.
Are you finding that you're more like, what I want to say, on it than in it these days?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't put my tool belt on for a month.
So are you kind of like happy with that or missing it?
Sometimes.
It just depends on the day.
Sometimes I'm like, I wish I was just swinging a hammer right now. Like when I walk into Corwin and get swarmed by 3 different people and 1,000 questions, like hour later, I'm just a zombie because I've expended so much brain power. So I think it's really gotten like I get home after the gym, eat, talk to my parents for a little bit, and I'm in bed.
Getting to be an old man, Nate.
9:00, I'm in my bed or on my way to the bed, pretty much.
Like I said, that day that you're going to be up late with the electricians, you're going to be way past your bedtime.
It's going to be hurting. I have to go home early. And
you might want to try to schedule that on a Thursday night. That way you don't have guys out on Friday and you're managing all that.
Yep,
that'd probably be a good idea. Speaking of that, it was fun. Funny, I saw 3 of your guys. Anthony, Stefan, and Chris were all at Casey's last night at the same time. Like, just it happened. Chris was there, and then Anthony and Stefan showed up together. And they were all wearing that same like hoodie that you're wearing right now and everything. Yeah. And we were giving them crap, and they were giving crap about another company, I guess, that was in the area, and they were joking about how, like, what are you doing on our block? Like, this is our block. Like, this is our territory. And, like, just messing with them. And stuff like that. But it was just cool to see them, like, they were, wearing their stuff. And, and I mean, most places you would hear somebody, like, when they go to talk about work, they're probably bitching about something. They're bitching about their boss or whatever, but they were just, like, talking about, like, the fun or funny things that happen. So that just let me know that, like, whatever it is you're doing so far, in culture and everything, and you're not going to be perfect, but it seems to be going well.
Yeah, and I've told certain people, I was like, one of these days, like, I'm going to be having a bad day. My dog's going to die. I'm going to be sick, tired, injured, and I'm going to blow up, and I will regret it. And I will come back, and I will apologize. But just be ready for it.
Speaking of apologies, did you see my comment on Caden's saying that he was going to come to the party thing?
Bring your girl.
Yeah, and then he said, and I said, don't worry. I was like, you don't have to lie to us. We'll love you either way. You can still bring it. You can bring a dude.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I was right under Brandon's comment, and he goes, man, I wish I wouldn't have even said anything.
Yep. Put yourself out there for that one.
Well, that's all I had. You good?
I'm good.
All right. You want to take it away?
Yep. We appreciate you guys listening to Higher Points. Leaving us reviews. We appreciate the shares, and we're just very thankful that you guys listen to us every week and support us. And we hope everybody has an awesome week and go out there and push through. It's almost Christmas time, but don't go backwards. Have a good week.
Catch up with you guys next time.